Welcome back to the Nancy Levin Show. I'm going to ask you something, and I want you to take a moment. Have you ever looked around at your life? The roles you play, the responsibilities you carry, the image you present to the world, and thought, well, everything looks fine, so why doesn't it feel fine? If you have, you're not alone. Maybe your days are full, your calendar is packed, your accomplishments are hard won. From the outside, things might even look enviable. Or it could be that you're on a different path. You're still reaching, still building, still wondering if it's ever going to feel like enough. Whichever version resonates with you, whether you've achieved what you thought would fulfill you, or you're still waiting for life to really begin, there's a quiet feeling inside, that sense that something is missing. And it matters. And that inner voice, that flicker of restlessness or longing, it's not something to push aside or power through. It's not a flaw in your character. It's not evidence that you're ungrateful or that something's wrong with you. It's an invitation. A part of you has been patiently waiting for your attention, ready to be heard, asking to be honored. And so today we're talking about desire. We're talking about the kind of desire that you have muted, and it runs deep. It's honest, it's intimate, it's quiet, it's yours. Desire that reconnects you with who you really are. Beneath the roles, the routines, the expectation, and the performance, the desire that says, there's more here. There's more to me. There's more I want to experience, create, feel, become. And to support you in returning to this part of yourself, I've created something I'm really excited to share with you. It is a brand new, free, 5-day challenge called Reignite Your Spark. You can join right now for free at nancylevin.com/spark. Here's what you're going to get. 5 days, 5 emails from me with 5 short videos, a beautiful downloadable workbook, clear, gentle daily actions, just for 15 minutes each day. That's it. No overwhelm, no pressure, just a gentle return to yourself. All of this right now at nancylevin.com/spark. Okay. We are going to dive into this episode fully here, and we're going to begin with something tender and incredibly common. Here's the thing. This disconnect from desire shows up differently for different people. So maybe you're someone who has everything you once thought you wanted. The job, the relationship, the house, the financial security, the accomplishments you work so hard for. On paper, your life looks impressive, but if you're really being honest with yourself, you feel off. Life feels muted. There's something missing. A piece of you has gone quiet. Or maybe you're on a completely different path. Maybe you're still building, still reaching, still figuring things out. Maybe you don't have the house or the savings account or the impressive title. Maybe you're working multiple jobs. You're in transition. You're wondering if you'll ever get to the place where things feel stable. And yet, even without all those external markers of success, you still feel the same disconnect. You still wake up thinking, is this it? Is this all there is? You still wonder, when does the good part start? When do I get to want things for myself? So here's the deal. Whether you're feeling trapped by what you have or stuck waiting for what you don't have yet, the core issue is the same. You've lost touch with your own desire. So if you've achieved external success, the question becomes, why doesn't this feel like I thought it would? You're grateful, deeply grateful, And yet there's still that tug, that quiet ache, that whisper. There has to be more than this. And if you're still in the building phase, the question might sound like, am I even allowed to want more when I don't have enough yet? You might feel like your desires have to wait, like you need to get to some imaginary finish line before you're permitted to ask yourself what would actually bring you joy. But here's what I want you to hear. Wherever you are on this spectrum, you are not ungrateful for wanting more. You are not greedy for wanting something different. You are not asking for too much. Here's the truth that most people will not tell you. Success without connection to desire feels hollow. Achievement without alignment feels empty. And whether you're living in abundance or scarcity, if you're disconnected from what you actually want, you are going to feel lost. So many of us have built our lives or are building our lives around what we were told to want, what our parents expected, what society values, what looks good from the outside, what seems safe or practical or responsible. And whether we've reached those goals or we're still chasing them, we're realizing we've never truly asked ourselves the most important question. What do I actually want for me? Not what would make sense, not what would please others, not what would look good on paper, not what would prove I've made it, but what would honestly, truly make my soul come alive? Because whether you're performing satisfaction with what you have or performing patience while you wait for more, you're still performing. And when you stop performing and start pursuing alignment, that's when life becomes real again. That's when you stop going through the motions and start actually living. So let's take a moment here to name what happens when we ignore desire, when we silence our own longing in favor of keeping the peace, when we prioritize productivity over presence, when we go along with what everyone else wants, but don't ask ourselves what we want. We begin to disconnect, not just from others, but from ourselves. And over time, that disconnection can show up as burnout, the kind that sleep doesn't fix. It can show up as resentment toward the people and circumstances we once chose. It can show up as numbness, like you're watching your life from the outside instead of living it from the inside. It can show up as loss of creativity, loss of curiosity, loss of spontaneity, a general sense of drifting through your days instead of directing them. And it's not because there's anything wrong with you. It's not because you're not trying hard enough or doing enough or being enough. It's because something essential within you has gone quiet. So desire is the part of you that says, this matters to me. This lights me up. This is who I really am underneath everything else. And when we disconnect from that voice, when we tell it to be quiet, to be practical, to wait until later, we lose our aliveness. We lose our spark. But here's what I want you to know. This isn't about chasing extravagance or indulgence. This isn't about being reckless or irresponsible. It's about reclaiming your aliveness. It's about remembering that you're allowed to want, to need, to be lit up. You're allowed to desire a life that feels good, not just looks good. So one of the most radical shifts you can make is realizing this. Desire is not a luxury. It is your compass. It doesn't have to be flashy or dramatic or Instagram worthy. Desire doesn't always look like quitting your job or leaving your relationship or moving across the country. Sometimes it's much quieter than this. Desire might simply sound like, I want more quiet in my day. I want to feel at home in my body. I want to create something without having to justify it or monetize it. I want to feel seen, truly seen by the people in my life. I want to wake up and actually look forward to my day. I want to remember what brings me joy. These are not trivial. These are sacred. They're the whispers of your soul trying to guide you back home to you. And yet we've been so thoroughly trained to silence this voice, to prioritize what makes sense over what feels right, to pursue stability instead of soul, to choose security over aliveness. But what if these things aren't actually in conflict? What if clarity, grounding, and fulfillment all live on the other side of reconnecting with your desire? And what if the most practical thing you could do is listen to what lights you up? Because what I've learned, both in my own life and working with thousands of clients, when you honor your desires, everything becomes easier. Decision-making becomes more clear. Boundaries become natural. Energy returns. Resentment dissolves. Your desires aren't distractions from your real life. They're the doorway to it. So I'm going to share with you a few real-life examples of what this looks like, because I think sometimes we need to hear that other people have walked this path, and it actually can change things for us. I worked with a client who, after decades of living in service to everyone else's needs, their partner, their children, their aging parents, their colleagues, finally admitted something they'd been afraid to say out loud. They missed painting. They hadn't picked up a brush in 15 years. And when they told me this, there were tears, because it felt so small and so selfish to want this when there were more important things to focus on. But we talked about what it might look like to reclaim just a tiny piece of this desire. So they started with 10 minutes a day, just 10 minutes. Then it became weekend mornings. And now they've carved out an entire studio space in their home. And here's what they told me recently. I feel more peaceful, more focused, more energized in every other area of my life. Taking care of this one desire didn't take away from anything else. It actually made everything else better. Another client came to me feeling completely overwhelmed and couldn't figure out why. On the surface, everything was manageable, but they felt suffocated. As we explored their calendar, we realized they had structured their entire life around obligation. Every single commitment was a should. And when I asked, what do you actually want to be doing? They went quiet for a very long time and finally said, I think I just want more time alone. I want to read. I want to learn things that interest me, not things that I have to know for work. So we rearranged their mornings with just 30 minutes before anyone else was awake. That's all it took. One shift, one small honoring of their desire changed how they approached their entire day. They showed up calmer, more present, less resentful. These are no small things. These are not surface changes. These aren't quick fixes or temporary highs. These are life-shaping decisions rooted in desire, not guilt, not pressure, not performance. And they're available to you as well. This is exactly why I created the Reignite Your Spark 5-day challenge, because reconnecting with your desire happens in small, intentional steps that guide your actions. So here's what you'll receive when you join for free at nancylevin.com/spark. 5 days of guided exploration. 5 emails from me, thoughtful, personal, and designed to meet you where you are. Each email includes a short video from me. No fluff, just clarity and actionable insight. A beautiful, downloadable workbook to capture your reflections, revelations, and desires. Simple daily actions. The entire thing is just meant to take you 15 minutes a day. So that's it. No pressure, no overwhelm, completely free. Your invitation to spend 15 minutes with yourself each day. A guided, gentle space to help you hear yourself again, to honor what you truly want, and to begin taking steps, however small, toward it. You can join right now at nancylevin.com/spark. Again, it's completely free. This isn't about adding any more to your already full plate. It's about clearing space for what actually matters most. It's about remembering that your desires deserve your attention, that your aliveness matters, that you matter. So let me paint a picture for you here. What becomes possible when you reconnect with your desire? You wake up with a sense of purpose, not because you're hustling towards some external goal, but because you're aligned with what actually matters to you. You make decisions more easily because you're clear on what you want and what you don't. You stop waiting for permission from your partner, your boss, from society to live the life you're longing for. You set boundaries without guilt because you're no longer abandoning yourself to please others. You show up more fully in your relationships because you're not depleted or resentful. You feel alive again, not because your circumstances have so dramatically changed, but because you've come home to the truth of yourself. This is what the Reignite Your Spark Challenge is designed to help you access. Not someday, not when everything is perfect, right now. So if your inner light feels like it's been dimmed even just a little, this is your invitation to begin again. Go to nancylevin.com/spark right now. You're going to get the first email. You're going to download your free workbook. You're going to get the first video from me. Say yes to this 5-day journey that reconnects you with the part of you that is longing to be heard. You don't need to overhaul your entire life. You don't need to have the perfect plan. You don't need to know exactly where any of this will lead. You just need a moment of courage, and I'll be with you each step of the way. You've shown up for others your whole life. You've followed the rules. You've done what's expected. Now it's time to follow your desire. Because this moment right here, right now, this is the beginning of your next chapter. Not from fear, not from force, not from desperation, but from alignment, from truth, from power, from the part of you that has been patiently waiting to be honored. I'm so glad you chose to spend this time with me today. I'm so glad you're willing to explore what's possible when you honor your own desires. And I'm truly honored to walk beside you on this journey. So before you hit stop, go ahead and sign up right now for the Reignite Your Spark 5-day challenge, nancylevin.com/spark, totally free. And as soon as you do, I'm going to be in your inbox with your first email, your first video. Let's go. Until next time, stay curious, stay clear, and above all, stay true to you. Signing off, and I'll see you inside the challenge.